Let's start it to discuss about Planoly. So first of all, thank you for coming, and please introduce about the Planoly a little bit.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you very much for having us. It's so excited to be partnering with you, and we are so excited to be able to bring Planoly, our BIM management solution, to your market, to Japan. And we are just looking forward to see more and more of your users from Japan and see how we can help you in a good and smooth BIM management process. As we were preparing for this discussion, we thought it's a good idea to talk a little bit about Planoly and introduce what it is, right? So let me try to share my screen, and hopefully you see your own landing page, if that's right.
Yes, I can see it now.
I would just encourage everyone to go here and look around, because it already is introducing Planoly and the three big main modules that Planoly has, which would be the docs, scope, and verify modules. We are approaching BIM management challenges from multiple angles, and these are the three modules addressing those angles. If I just open up this link, which would take us to planoly.com, I also want to show you around and go a little bit deeper what Planoly is. So once you find yourself on our planoly.com landing page, go to demo resources for more information. Very, very briefly, let me just introduce you on a 10,000 feet what Planoly does. So Planoly is the BIM management platform. And our history goes back to the ages when we used to be BIM managers and found a couple of issues that was making our daily life much, much harder. And we put those into these three modules. First of all, the docs module. Each and every project nowadays should start with an execution plan that records the project goals, the targets, the purposes of creating a BIM project, and how we are going to work together. Traditionally, we have been putting together long documents describing all these things, 30 pages of document that we send out to others in a PDF format. And then we kind of hope that now we have an agreement. Everyone is going to follow our goals and our documentation. But in reality, we had to find that actually no one reads these documents. So it doesn't help us when we want to execute a project, because no one actually read it. So what we decided to put this static document into an online and dynamic environment where we can invite others and collaborate on creating the document itself. So it's not a top-down approach anymore. It's not one person putting it together and sending it out into different teams, but together we can develop the agreement, how we are going to work together, how we are going to reach the targets that we define together. And each and every person can give feedback about this plan. Therefore, it is much more likely that it is going to be followed in the end. So that's what we put in the docs feature set. Of course, we are automating as much as possible. So we are talking about a huge amount of unstructured data, text-based documentation for the humans. We are breaking it down into smaller chunks, easy to digest pieces of information with as much automation as possible, built-in process steps that helps us moving forward as quick as possible, as effective as possible. In the next step, the scope module is really when we dig deeper in the BIM topic. So this is when we define who is doing what at a certain point in time. We have a beautiful motto: the right BIM at the right time by the right people for the right reasons. And this is being visualized in the scope module in this matrix. So on the horizontal axis, we can see the different targets, the different purposes that we want to achieve and reach together. On the vertical axis, we start listing all those building components that we expect to have in the building. We can put it into structures, folders, classification structures, whatever we want. And in this beautiful matrix, in a very visual representation, we can see what is the geometrical requirements of each and every component, what are the information that are requested to be added, pretty much modeling properties that have to be attached to each and every element, who is responsible for it. There is a shift of responsibilities from the architect to the contractor. We can communicate that clearly. So it's very easy to understand what's happening here, even for someone who might not be using BIM on a daily basis. And this all together, what we created in the docs, a high-level agreement, and in scope, which is a detailed agreement, that can come together into a contractual document if we wanted to. We do have e-signatures in the application, so if you really want to, you can just put electronic ink on the paper, and you can start executing. And then, during the execution phase, it would be a waste of time to start to try to understand on one screen what we have in a model and on another screen what we have as a requirement, and trying to make sure that we meet our requirements. So because of that, we have the verify module where we can start loading in models and automatically check against the contractual requirements. either on the sending end. So if architects, designers are uploading models, they can check their quality, the quality of the models against the contractual requirements automatically. Or on the receiving end, if you receive models as a BIM manager, as the appointing party, to use ISO 19650 terms, you can very easily and quickly verify that the model that you received is actually to your contractual requirements, and therefore it can be used for the downstream purpose. So I thought this is a very, very, very rapid introduction to what Planoly is. Of course, for more detailed, we are all ears and would love to discuss further. And if interesting, just scroll up to the top of the page and you find a 25 minutes demo about it, or another 1 minute introduction to the application.
Thank you, Akoshi-san.
Absolutely, looking forward.
Okay, thank you. So we have first question. In your introduction, you mentioned about docs function, but why creating BEP online instead of Word docs?
There is the traditional method of creating a document. And that is typically today, it means to copy and paste a former project document, or maybe different documents, paste it together into one large document. It is probably a Word document that you put together, trying to use search and replace to remove project references from other projects, and then create your document. From project to project, it's just getting longer and longer because you want to include everything that you saw on other projects, maybe even if it's not project relevant at all. So, and then you put together this long document, and once you are ready, you PDF it and send it to your collaborators for review. You wait a couple of days, weeks even, to get a feedback in an email, and then you have to incorporate that feedback somehow. It is not a fluent process. It lacks all the proper feedback, on-time feedback from others. It is not the document that helps getting started. It is a document that gives or puts administrative burden on the project, and you can check the box that you created an execution plan, but again, it's not going to be helpful. So instead of that, what we are doing is putting it in an online environment so everyone can access, based on their permissions, all the information that they need to. And we are breaking it down into smaller pieces so we can develop the document incrementally, and maybe just one little piece of document section at a time that someone would have to pay attention to. You can invite your collaborators and define together that, is this what we are going, or is this the way how we are going to achieve our targets? And after this very, very effective short kind of feedback loop, you can finalize those document sections. So again, incrementally over time, you can develop together your agreements. And once you say that you are now done, you reach the bottom and you have everything that you wanted to include, that's when you can PDF it. But it's a completely different approach, and PDFing it is just a must-have kind of checkbox in the end. You can archive it. This is the agreement. This is what we can sign. The process of getting to that agreement is completely different and much more effective, I have to say.
I really like the interface that just fill out the blanks, and then we can complete creating the document. It's more easier to creating the document, and then also it's easier to share with project members to allow the documents.
That's the absolute goal. And once you create your document, it's a best practice to serve it as a template for future projects. So you can use it, you can record the lessons learned, and we even have some automation, how to create a template, but more importantly, how to go from a template to a project documentation with a few clicks, which automatically would fill out a lot of project-specific information. So forget about the find and replace. It is going to do that automatically for you. Templatizing the work, increasing the standardized way of working is just going to make your work much more effective and will increase the quality as well.
Thank you so much. We can go to the second question.
All ears.
For the second question, what makes scope better than Excel matrix? In the introduction, you show us about the scope. So there's a matrix. And then what is the better comparing with Excel matrix?
Excel is the best thing since sliced bread. I think this is how they say it. So yeah, the perfect tool for an engineer. So that's a beautiful tool. Maybe that's the danger with it as well. You can create your set of requirements in Excel in a format that you prefer, as detailed as you wish. But working it long enough with your own Excel sheet as a BIM manager, then we can guarantee that you are going to be the only one who actually understands what the Excel spreadsheet is about. So the main problem is that it is not scalable. It is maybe works with a few amount of projects, maybe works with a small group of people, But when we talk about an industry, when we talk about collaboration between different disciplines and parties, this is not the tool that could serve a communication or fulfill a communicational role, which is crucial in a successful project execution. It's a static document compared to a dynamic nature of an online platform that allows back and forth communication. If you want to add more and more information to an Excel sheet, it will mean that you add more columns or more rows to the Excel sheet, which just makes it bigger, makes it even more challenging for others to understand. Instead of that, an online platform, a database-driven solution, where you have a cell that has a depth, that contains a lot of information, is going to be much better for communication. Not to mention that it also has kind of a track record of what happened to each and every cell in your matrix, so each and every element to be included. You can really have a discussion about how to model it, what kind of information has to be added to meet a certain purpose or use case. In the end, if you need an Excel sheet, it goes out into an Excel sheet. Or if you want to use the same information in other applications, now there is the Open BIM approach, the Building Smart approach, which is an IDS XML information delivery specification. And whatever you put together in this graphical user interface that helps to communicate with others, it can really go into a machine-readable format so the machine can take over and work with it.
Not only the managing the matrix, but also we can manage who is responsible for the each tasks, right?
Absolutely. Let it be a building, designing, modeling component, like an element, a foundation, for example, or let it be any kind of tasks, because even in a BIM project, there are so many things happening outside the BIM environment. You have to create contracts, set up the IT structure, common data environment, and so on and so on. You have to appoint the right people who is going to be the main person on the project. So all those tasks, someone will have to take care of those. So we can combine the BIM tasks with the non-necessarily BIM-related tasks and deliverables, and we can plan for them, contract for them, even put them in a schedule, how the best approach to do all these tasks in a sequence, and then also follow up on the completion and see how we are completing these tasks.
Thank you very much. For the third question, what can be checked automatically in models? So you were talking about verify functions, right?
The I in BIM, as they say, is very important. So we can talk about geometry. And of course, geometry is really also crucial, because if you take downstream processes or purposes like clash detection, of course, you are going to check whether two pieces of geometry are colliding and trying to occupy the same space. If we are talking about quantification, of course, we are going to take that cube and calculate the quantity of those. So geometry is very determining. We have to add information to our models incrementally. So for different use cases during the design phases, as decisions are being made, you learn more and more about your own project, and you attach more and more information to the objects in design, in pre-construction, in construction, but also when you are handing over your model for maintenance, facilities management, operations, you want to attach information about the objects like warranty and manufacturer. It's extremely crucial. If you are not defining your use cases and what you need, then it's pure luck if the model contains that or not. We have a scope in place. We can put it into our agreements what has to be modeled, because first we identify what the use cases are, and then we find out together with the teams what piece of information is needed to fulfill that certain use case of our BIM project. Answering your question after this long introduction, receiving a set of requirements and a model would have to be compared. And we can, just do it on two screens, and good luck finding all the differences, or if something meets your requirement or not. But instead of that, bringing it in Planoly in 80 different file formats. So it can be Revit, it can be IFC, and all the others. So you can bring it in, and what we are going to check is the information automatically. So linking up your models with the set of requirements that we created will result in automated quality check. And then you can see whether you fulfill those information requirements, or there is still something to be working on. And as I mentioned, we are also trying to improve this quality checking loop, because traditionally you could be just posting something on a common data environment, and then the receiving end will check whether that meets the requirements or not. But with Planoly, you can give access to your suppliers, to the designers, and to the different disciplines to check their own models and perform a quality check. And if needed, additional information to be added or fix anything, they can do that themselves without having to involve the receiving party. As an appointing party, as an owner, as a requester, you would only receive such models which were already passing a quality check. Therefore, it's just going to be much more effective. We can reduce the back and forth issue tracking communication with the team.
So is it to manage the project and then it will
save timing, quality, the miscommunication and stress and pointing fingers between teams. So yeah, all the good things.
There are a lot of good things. For the last part, I would like to ask you, how do you get teams to sign off on requirements?
That's also a challenge. So what has been happening earlier is that you have an agreement. The agreement says that you have to do BIM, and then you sign the contract and do some BIM. With our approach to create this detailed responsibility matrices, you can combine that, even target it to certain teams. So if you say that now I'm contracting with the architect, you can filter down your scope requirements for the architect only and include it with your more generic execution plan, let's say. So the responsibility matrix and the execution plan is going to be, in the end, one document. Signing this one will also mean that finally we can contract for the BIM deliverables, which again is going to allow a much smoother execution because we all understand what has to be in the models.
Cool. If you use Planoly, then you can just have approval from our project member easily. And then also we can save timing to, you mentioned about miscommunication. So I think it's going to be much better and then improve our management skill for BIM.
One of the motto is making BIM simple. So that's what we are really doing. We have lots of confusion around BIM, lots of miscommunication, lots of abbreviations and pointing fingers. We are trying to get rid of all of those. And when introducing standardization and templatization, we are increasing the quality of work. And we do that also in a simplified way. So creating your own templates, following existing standards like ISO 19650 is going to be a piece of cake if you have this structured system, what Planoly is.
Yeah, I think ISO 19650 is crucial for thinking about to managing with BIM projects. So I think it's really important things.
Yes, and on that note, so ISO 19650 is a huge topic in a global BIM discussion, especially when it comes to international projects. You want to work with companies who are certified and who are going to work in the same way, regardless of their locations. And because of that, we identified the need of this. So not only Planoly as a framework is supporting ISO 19650 fully, but we also developed templates with our global community into Planoly that helps you getting started with ISO 19650 very, very quickly and effectively. And thanks to you, these templates are also translated to Japanese. So it gives a quick start to getting started, following and being compliant with the standard.
Thank you very much. We want our customers or people in Japan to know about Planoly more. So, but we do want to mention about how many users or how many countries is there to using Planoly currently?
It's a growing number, so we are very happy to see that this approach is gaining interest in all the different parts of the world. So from Japan to Brazil, I think we are in 100 different countries probably. Planoly is being localized in more than 20 languages. I mentioned the templates; those are being localized in very many different languages. Sometimes seeing a huge effort. Just to say one, for example, from the Arabic world, we had 20 countries working together to make sure that we have the best templates in the Arabic language. So it's really a community that comes together in Planoly, in the Smart Lean BIM community, and working towards mastering and making these processes as smooth as possible. Our user count is also growing. So I mentioned a large number of countries. I think we are over now 60,000 users. So again, it's beautiful to see how we can help our industry with these management processes.
Thank you. I also checked Japanese translate, and it was so nice. And it was so perfect. So I think it's easy to use now, so quick. So I think it's very good things.
Thank you.
So before finishing, do you have your words to ending up?
Yeah, I just probably the word that I would encourage you to do is I showed your website. Probably can link it somewhere or show it again. Visit your website where you will be able to read about Planoly in Japanese And for any further information, you will find the links to our Planoly landing page. Create your free accounts, look around in Planoly, see the templates that we have. And if any questions come up, we are going to be in the application. You can be contacted to take it from there. We are all here to help these processes.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having us.